Sami Zayn is plotting against the OG Bloodline. Paul Heyman brings CM Punk to help the OG Bloodline. CM Punk lands another huge role outside wrestling. Charlotte Flair's in-ring return update. Liv Morgn goes rogue in an interview. Popular ex-AEW star signed to WWE ID program. A blockbuster WWE announcement provides clarity on the future of wrestling. The Rock's upcoming project update. Let's dive right in. Paul Heyman brings CM Punk to help the OG Bloodline. The second last episode of WWE Smackdown before this year's Survivor Series, War Games will air from the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah tonight. Last week, the Bloodline 2.0 found its fifth member for War Games as Bronson Reed joined forces with Solo Sikoa and his men. Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn have yet to find their team's last member. So, without further ado, let's take a look at 4 things the original Bloodline can do on WWE Smackdown tonight. Number 1. Paul Heyman could bring CM Punk to help the OG Bloodline. At the end of SmackDown last week, Roman Reigns was seen calling Paul Heyman, but the Wiseman's number was out of service. After being away from WWE programming since June, the 59-year-old veteran could finally return tonight, and he may have the 5th member of Roman Reigns' team by his side. Heyman had asked for help from CM Punk on SmackDown after Clash at the Castle 2024, as he was suffering under Solo Sikoa's leadership. He may finally get that help in the form of the best in the world joining forces with the original tribal chief. It would be an interesting twist, as the two men didn't see eye to eye and had heat with each other in the past. This would also be a smart way to intensify Seth Rollins and CM Punk's rivalry if the Visionary shows up tonight to help the OG Bloodline, but loses his potential spot to the Second City Saint. Number 2. Hiyo could join the Bloodline 2.0 on SmackDown. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa's Bloodline collided again on last week's episode of SmackDown. Sikoa and his men got the upper hand as Bronson Reed showed up to help them. Another brawl could take place between the two sides tonight, as the OG Bloodline may want payback. This time, the OTC and his teammates may stand tall if they can find a 5th member. In another scenario, the Bloodline 2.0 could further strengthen their team by bringing Hiyo to get a 6-on-4 advantage over the OG Bloodline. He may wreak havoc and take out everyone on his own. Number 3. Seth Rollins may finally help the OG Bloodline. Seth Rollins has been feuding with Bronson Reed for the past few months. The Australian star's involvement in the Bloodline Civil War led many fans to think that the Visionary would help Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Sami Zayn. However, Rollins refused to help them on the latest episode of WWE Raw. His decision could change on SmackDown tonight because Solo Sikoa cost the former Universal Champion his match against Reed this past Monday. Reigns and Rollins working together at Survivor Series, the same event they debuted at as The Shield 12 years ago, would be a huge thing. Number 4. The Bloodline 2.0 could reveal they abducted Paul Heyman on SmackDown. As Roman Reigns could not contact Paul Heyman last week, he and other members of the original Bloodline may be focused on bringing back the Wiseman tonight. The WWE Hall of Famer was last seen on the Blue brand in June, where he was assaulted by Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa following his refusal to acknowledge Sikoa as the new tribal chief. It is possible that the Bloodline 2.0 reveals tonight that they kidnapped Heyman, making things more personal with Roman Reigns and his team ahead of Survivor Series War Games. CM Punk lands another huge role outside wrestling. CM Punk has landed another acting role during his hiatus from WWE. He has a recurring role in an upcoming TV series. Last month, it was reported that the Second City Saint was cast in a horror film called Night Patrol, which is slated to be released next year. He was last seen on live WWE television on the Raw after Bad Blood. He is rumored to appear at Survivor Series according to WrestleVotes. Variety broke the news that CM Punk has now joined the cast of the upcoming sci-fi series Revival. The cast members include Melanie Scrofano, Romy Weltman, David James Elliott, and Andy McQueen. Here is the description of the series. On one miraculous day in rural Wisconsin, the recently deceased suddenly rise from their graves. But this is no zombie story, as the revived appear and act just like they once were. When local officer and single mother Dana Cypress, Scrofano, is unexpectedly thrown into the center of a brutal murder mystery of her own, she's left to make sense of the chaos amidst a town gripped by fear and confusion, where everyone, alive or undead, is a suspect. The OTC and the Voice of the Voiceless are two of the biggest stars in the industry right now. A match between them would easily sell out any major WWE show. During a recent interview with Peter Rosenberg, CM Punk discussed a potential match against Roman Reigns. You talk about the money stuff. You talk about the marquee stuff. You talk about what is the match you could see main eventing a pay-per-view. That's what gets my juices flowing. I think whenever myself and Roman Reigns are face-to-face on television, I think that's gonna be a moment, said Punk. CM Punk returned to WWE 1 year ago at Survivor Series. If he does show up at Survivor Series, it'll be interesting to see what he does at the event. Stephanie McMahon gives a huge update about her family. Stephanie McMahon has been silent about several matters for a long time, not being directly involved in multiple issues, and also having moved away from WWE. However, she has spoken up now about a huge update surrounding her family and broke her silence after the news broke 3 days back. Earlier this week, the news broke that President-elect Donald Trump had nominated Linda McMahon on November 19th, 2024, as the next Secretary of Education. The post is yet to be confirmed, but it's expected that she will be part of the cabinet. During Trump's last presidential rule, she was named the Administrator of the Small Business Administration. Since the time of the nomination, Stephanie McMahon had been silent. Now, she has spoken up and congratulated her mother for the nomination as the United States Secretary of Education. She said that her grandchildren would be proud too, as she would be a 2-time cabinet member. She added that this was great for their legacy and that she was proud of her mother. Congratulations, Linda McMahon, on being nominated for United States Secretary of Education. Your grandchildren will know you as a 2-time cabinet member. What a legacy for us all. I am so proud of you, Mom, she wrote. While Stephanie McMahon has mostly stayed away from television, there was a point when she was appointed as the chairwoman of the company after her father, Vince McMahon, retired. However, when he returned in January 2023, Stephanie stepped down and announced her resignation from WWE. She has since made some appearances for the company. She was in attendance at this year's SummerSlam. She was also present at WrestleMania 40, where she appeared on Night 2 to welcome fans to the show and announced the start of the Paul Levesque era of WWE. It remains to be seen if she will return to the company in an official capacity anytime in the near future. Charlotte Flair's in-ring return update. Charlotte Flair has been on the shelf for a long time. The star has now hinted at a return a day before this week's WWE Smackdown. On the December 8th episode of Smackdown, Charlotte Flair tore her ACL, MCL, and meniscus during her match against Asuka. This injury left her unable to compete. The following week, it was announced that she would likely be out of action for at least 9 months. Since then, 11 months have passed, and Flair has regularly been seen working out and rehabbing, preparing for an in-ring return. However, no official date was set for the return. Now, in a post on X, Charlotte Flair has teased finally returning to the ring after almost a year. The star posted a picture of an ice cube breaking apart to reveal a diamond within it, with her in the diamond. It seems that she has finally thawed out and is preparing for a return to the ring. The timing of the post is interesting as it comes only a day before WWE Smackdown. Fans will have to wait to see if the star returns this year, or if she waits longer and joins the company around the Royal Rumble season, where her return would be sure to make a huge splash. Now, while fans wait for Flair to return, another star has hinted that she's not quite retired. While Liv Morgn was telling everyone that she had put Becky Lynch on the shelf and retired the star, Lynch said in an interview that she's not retiring by having Dominic Mysterio slam a steel cage door on her face. It will be interesting to see if Becky Lynch also returns to WWE around the Royal Rumble, and if, by doing so, she crosses paths with Charlotte Flair, an old rival and friend, at the same time. The next year is shaping up to be full of possibilities for WWE. Liv Morgn goes rogue in an interview. Rhea Ripley might be living rent-free in a major WWE superstar's head, as the notable name recently went off on a rant during a live interview. The sudden outburst during the end of the interview was by the Women's World Champion Liv Morgn, who seemingly got offended. Last year, Rhea Ripley injured Liv Morgn, costing her months of her career, while she was on a hiatus recovering. Earlier this year, Morgan repaid the favor and eventually took everything away from Mommy in the coming months, including the Women's World Championship, Dominic Mysterio, and the Judgment Day. Speaking on WWE Deutschland, the Women's World Champion Liv Morgn addressed different topics from her career and personal life. Before the end of the interview, she seemingly got offended and went off on a rant, where she took shots at Rhea Ripley for not being on the same level as her. "I'm above Rhea Ripley level. Rhea Ripley is not on my level. Just because she did one more interview than me doesn't mean that the substance of her interviews were on my level. I'm sure if you go back and you want to pick these interviews and decipher who had a more powerful interview, who had a more influential interview, it would be me, even though I had one less than her. That just speaks to my power and how powerful I am. She needs to get on my level," Morgan said. Earlier this year, Liv Morgn wanted to face Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 40. However, Becky Lynch punched her ticket and faced Mommy in a losing effort. Later, Rhea Ripley got injured and went on a hiatus before returning to the company in recent months. This led to a match against Liv Morgn at SummerSlam 2024. After the loss to Morgan, she then teamed up with Damian Priest to face Liv and Dominic Mysterio at WWE Bash in Berlin and won, pinning the champion. This led to their third match at WWE Bad Blood, where Dominic Mysterio was locked in a shark cage. However, Raquel Rodriguez's interference ended the match in a DQ. In the coming weeks, Rhea Ripley will face Liv Morgn for the fourth time at a PLE this year. This time it will be in a War Games match, and both women are on opposing teams heading into Survivor Series in Canada on November 30th. Popular ex-AEW star signed to WWE ID program. A former AEW star has been announced as the newest prospect in the WWE ID program. The star in question, Kylie Rae, wrestled just one match for the Tony Khan-led promotion before requesting her release, which was eventually granted to her. The WWE ID program that started under the Triple H regime has had quite an incredible start, and about 17 prospects have already been announced. The announcement of the program was met with a mostly positive response from fans and superstars alike. Kylie Rae, who wrestled at the AEW Double or Nothing pay-per-view back in 2019, has now been announced as the newest prospect of the independent development program started by World Wrestling Entertainment. The announcement was made last night at an event organized by Freelance Wrestling. Kylie Rae also had a brief stint with the Stamford-based company in 2022 to 2023. She attended a tryout in Orlando, Florida, in late 2022. During the tryouts, she wrestled current WWE superstars Fallon Henley and Thea Hale. Rae was also featured on Main Event, where she competed against Dana Brooke and lost the match. Unfortunately for Kylie, she was not signed to a contract by the Stamford-based promotion. Her fans now have high hopes for her future following the big news. A Blockbuster WWE announcement provides clarity on the future of wrestling. With a huge WWE deal coming into effect in 2025, there has been some confusion about what's next for the company and what fans can expect. Their latest Blockbuster announcement appears to have provided some clarity. With Raw going to Netflix in the US from January 2025, there has been much talk about what the rest of the world will be seeing and when the deal with Netflix goes into effect. As per the reports, it was said that Raw, Smackdown, and NXT, all the shows would be broadcast on Netflix outside the United States. In the USA, Netflix will continue on the CW network, while SmackDown will be on USA Network. Now, an announcement has made clear what's happening for a major market for WWE, the UK and Ireland. Netflix UK and Ireland announced that WWE was going to be coming to Netflix, starting January 2025, airing Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Along with these, the premium live events like WrestleMania and Royal Rumble would also be on Netflix, as well as historic PLEs. However, they left something unclear as they said that only select programming would be coming to Netflix from the company's archives. As a result, there does not seem to be confirmation on what will be left out, with select programming seemingly implying that some of the usual content may not be available. WWE is coming to Netflix UK/IE from January 2025, including weekly episodes of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all premium live events, such as WrestleMania and Royal Rumble select programming and historic PLEs from the archive. Everything in one place, all on your existing plan. With Roman Reigns still on SmackDown and Raw going to Netflix, it appears that the star will be making appearances on the Red brand. Reigns seems destined to be staying on the Blue brand for a while, but could make special appearances on Monday nights. Advertisements have indicated that the first Raw on Netflix will not only feature John Cena and Cody Rhodes, but also Roman Reigns as well. With all this and more, the programming for next year is looking very big for the company. The Rock's upcoming project update. The Rock made a huge confirmation about a project he has been working on outside WWE. 2 of his family members are set to make a massive debut. The Rock's 2 daughters, Jasmine and Tiana, are set to debut in Disney's upcoming movie. Dwayne Johnson is one of the biggest stars on the planet, and he was one of the few people who made a successful transition from professional wrestling to acting. Over the years, the Brahma Bull has appeared in several movies that have generated millions at the box office. One of his most successful films is Moana, in which he played Maui, a strong-willed, shape-shifting demigod. The movie was a massive success and grossed $687.2 million at the box office. Now, a highly anticipated sequel, Moana 2, is set to release on November 29, 2024. A few days before the release, the WWE legend took to social media to share a video of his 2 daughters, Jasmine and Tiana, recording lines for the movie. Introducing your Moana 2 Moana, Bees, My 2 Tornadoes, Jazzy and Tia. It was a family affair at the Disney Animation Recording Studios and everyone had a blast. As you can see, Moana is deeply personal and I'm a grateful man. Catch the Moana Bees handing out L's to Maui in theaters Thanksgiving Day. The Rock returned at WWE Bad Blood and teased a potential comeback. However, he has not been seen since then. WWE Raw is set to debut on Netflix on January 6th, and the promotional package for the premiere featured The Final Boss. It was noted by WrestleVotes during a recent live Q&A with Bill Apter on Backstage Pass that the Great One would be featured frequently, but would not be drafted to any particular brand. Is he going to be around more? Yes. Is he going to be scouted to a specific brand? It will be interesting to see which Bloodline faction The Rock will align himself with upon returning. Sami Zayn is plotting against the OG Bloodline. Jey Uso is currently a member of the OG Bloodline, standing alongside Roman Reigns against Solo Sikoa's faction. The Yeet Master has attempted to recruit a fifth member for the original Bloodline, but has been unsuccessful, as no one is willing to join them. Meanwhile, every small detail in the Bloodline saga adds an intriguing layer to the story. A moment that caught fans' attention during last week's Smackdown was Sami Zayn seemingly throwing a cell phone at one of the sofas behind. This happened during a backstage segment and has sparked speculation about whether Zayn can still be trusted. Amidst this tension, Jey Uso might soon consider kicking Sami Zayn off the OG Bloodline if he suspects Sami of conspiring against the family. In a recent interview, Jey was asked about the phone-throwing incident and fans' increasing scrutiny of every detail in the Bloodline saga. In response, Jey stated that he would look into the situation. This suggests that if Jey finds Sami plotting against the OG Bloodline, he won't hesitate to kick him out of the faction and expose his true intentions. The upcoming episode of WWE Smackdown promises to be pivotal. It remains to be seen whether the storyline will address this situation and if Jey Uso will take any action regarding Sami Zayn's apparent suspicious activity. Jey Uso has made several allies during his singles run, and one of them is the current undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare is presently embroiled in a feud with Kevin Owens, but Jey might still approach him to join the OG Bloodline as their fifth member. The Yeet Master and Cody share a strong bond, having previously held the tag team titles together after dethroning the Judgment Day as champions. This history highlights their connection, making it plausible for Jey Uso to seek Cody's help. Additionally, Cody has already shown allegiance to the original Bloodline by aiding Roman Reigns at Bad Blood, where he helped Reigns against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Given this connection, the American Nightmare seems like someone who might not refuse an invitation from the original Tribal Chiefs faction. Both Jey and Cody are scheduled to appear on the upcoming episode of WWE Smackdown, and Jey may take this opportunity to reach out to his ally for support.